Dustin, so good to see you. A really important topic today. The 5 best times for a Roth conversion. Retirees who want to reduce their taxes in retirement can benefit from strategic conversions from traditional to Roth accounts. But identifying those key windows is key. It can lead to, of course, a bigger nest egg in the end and many tax advantages. So, opportunity number one would be during market downturns. Explain why conversion makes more sense when the market's down.
Well, Aaron, it's one of those chances to turn lemons into lemonade, right?
Like it.
If you've got a diversified portfolio, you experience a drawdown in that portfolio, we anticipate that's going to be a temporary drawdown. So one of the opportunities you've got, if you're considering conversions, rather than paying the taxes on that conversion on a higher account value, when that account value is down, you can do the conversion and pay taxes on a lower account value, then see those assets later recover with all the growth being tax-free. Great opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Next would be ahead of any tax bracket changes, and taxes are set to increase at the end of this year, 2025.
That's right. So taxes are historically low right now. They're going to sunset at the end of 2025. But keep in mind, while taxes are historically low, deficits are still historically high. We anticipate the pressure to raise taxes in the future may remain. But that said, right now, if you're a married couple, for example, making anywhere from $50,000 to about $400,000, looking at the standard deduction, you're paying anywhere from 25 to 50% less than you would have been paying on the same income in 2017 before those tax cuts. So this is an incredible opportunity this year to consider those Roth conversions. And if those tax rates are extended like we anticipate they may be, again, we don't know if they're extended. We don't know for how long, but it'll be an opportunity in the years to come to continue some of these tax advantage moves.
The next opportunity would be between retirement and RMD age, when you may have lower taxable income.
To me, this is about control.
Yeah.
So the more you can reduce or shift those assets away from pre-tax accounts to Roth accounts, which don't require minimum distributions, the more control you're going to have over that asset in your retirement. Keep in mind that those required minimum distributions, you're not only going to pay taxes on those, but you could also be in a situation where, because of those RMDs, your adjusted gross income goes up. You're forced to pay additional taxes on your Social Security, and you're forced to pay higher Medicare premiums. Right. So anything we can do between retirement and RMD age to shift to Roth assets gives us much more control, and much more control potentially for your beneficiaries as well. Because remember, if they inherit those Roth assets, they're not going to have to deal with those required minimum distributions, or won't have to deal with required minimum distributions rather that are taxable.
Right. And that point is going to come up again because it is worth repeating. But we want to touch on a related note, which is the same if you're experiencing a low income year.
Yeah, I would say this is something especially for business owners to pay attention to. Yeah. People who've got the ability to shift, expenses forward. People who, if you have a low income year, it may not have really changed your cash flow situation. You may be perfectly situated to do some Roth conversions. But really anyone who, if you're in a year where your tax rate is as high or lower than you anticipate it being in the future, no more than you anticipate those tax rates being in the future, that's a good year to consider a Roth conversion if you can do it without moving into the next marginal tax rate.
And last, you just touched on it. If you are planning for your heirs, Roth accounts are one of the best ways to create generational wealth.
Yeah, if you can avoid it, you don't want to pass on. It shouldn't be your first choice to pass on tax-deferred accounts. And the reason for that is, it used to be the case that if a non-spouse beneficiary inherited those accounts, they could stretch that IRA, for example, over the course of their lifetime. That means they could make small distributions over a long period of time and preserve the tax advantages of that account. That's no longer the case. Now, most non-spouse beneficiaries have to distribute that account fully inside of 10 years. And remember, most people are inheriting these accounts in their 50s and 60s during their peak earning years when their taxes couldn't be higher. Something else you may want to consider. Beyond conversions, if you already have some Roth assets, even if they make up a small portion of your overall portfolio, you want to consider potentially spending those assets last and making those among the most growth-oriented assets, holding, for example, heavy equities in those accounts. The reason for that is both for you and your beneficiaries, if you get $1 worth of growth on a tax-deferred account, it's worth 70, 80, 90 cents to you after you pay the taxes. However, if you get $1 worth of growth on a Roth account, it's going to be worth 100 cents to you, and it'll be worth 100 cents to your beneficiaries when they inherit the account tax-free.
Mm-hmm. So many reasons to consider Roth conversions right now. So, Dustin, if somebody wants to talk through whether they are entering one of these windows and crunch the numbers with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Give me a call or a text at 830-476-2505. Or reach out on the website to book a free chat at longlivemymoney.com.
Great. Dustin, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.